But when the alleged details of Jack de Belin's sexual assault case emerged in court, Beattie effectively sidelined Greenberg and took center stage himself. LoadingHe declared that it is the commission that sets policy and it is simply Greenberg's job to implement that policy. In other words, Greenberg couldn't suspend de Belin if he wanted to, unless the commission agreed to change the existing policy that prevents players being stood down while their cases are heard or they plead guilty. Beattie's solution has been to dither for 2 weeks and conduct yet another review. He's going to check with the clubs, he's going to check with the legal eagles and, heaven forbid, even the Australian Olympic Committee to see what they would do in the same situation. LoadingHe even took to social media to ask fans to help him out with a solution. Can you imagine John Quayle doing that? Beattie is being paid $150,000 a year to make tough decisions, not to organize focus groups. Everyone in the game is looking for Beattie to show some leadership and take action to win the fans back. Maybe someone should show him the ratings from the Indigenous game. Beattie told this column he won't shy away from questions after Thursday's ARLC meeting. "I will stay until the last question is asked. There will be no running away. The game and fans deserves a full explanation and will get one," he said. LoadingHe: there are two options. Keep the existing policy or give Greenberg the authority to suspend players where police have thoroughly investigated a matter and laid serious charges that threaten the reputation of the game. Club bosses and the media are pushing him to adopt the "stand down" option and ignore the presumption of innocence. So he will probably go down that path. But, either way, Beattie has allowed the game to suffer further damage by allowing the matter to drag on so long without the decisive leadership the game needs. Jack de Belin earns about $580,000 a year. When you put the very serious allegations he is facing to one side, and we are not making light of the suffering of the alleged victim, this is the number that the Dragons football department cares about. The club is preparing itself for the worst from a footballing perspective, being that it could lose its key player for an unknown period of time if the ARLC rules to stand him down pending his day in court. Fate in the balance, the future of Jack de Belin, left, is shrouded. Credit: NRL Photosalge chairman Peter Beattie and NRL chief Greenberg will meet with the Dragons on Tuesday, and have a separate meeting with the RLPA on the same day. If de Belin is stood down, the Dragons are sure to ask questions about his salary and specifically whether they will get cap dispensation given that he was charged under one policy and suspended under another. Do they pay him for sitting out? Lawyers will ask the question. They will also ask what happens if he is found not guilty. It's a legitimate question on many levels. Given the nature of the allegations, and we hear there is more detail to come, everyone has assumed de Belin is done. But if you listen to some folk at the Dragons, they say he will get off. LoadingHe: should that happen, does the club get dispensation going forward? Does de Belin get the chance to sue the NRL? The Dragons are taking careful note of who is saying what. There will be some real feeling when they play Melbourne after Storm chairman Bart Campbell's comments. The Dragons are fuming at some of the figures making comment against de Belin. However, the best thing for de Belin may be an extended break from the game. I can't imagine how he is going to handle the hate that fans are going to throw at him. The Dragons say he is holding it together, but only just. They already have one eye on potential replacements because they believe the NRL will suspend him and they believe they are entitled to compensation. Inglis adds voice to calls for anthem discussion. Greg Inglis is the NRL's strongest Indigenous voice and he believes it's time to act on our national anthem. He is a considered and modest man and a leader on and off the field. Here are his thoughts on the Indigenous team not singing the national anthem. DW, what did you make of the players not singing the anthem and Cody Walker speaking up about it? Cultural pride. Indigenous players perform before the All-Stars match. Credit. AAPGI, Cody has answered it in the right way. I have my rights and so does he, and I think he is very brave for speaking his rights. For too many years we've been quiet and we've been silent. I didn't know that was happening, but that's what happened. It's a great debate that we should have. DW, how important is it for guys to use their platform to bring these issues to light? We don't want to be anything like the NFL, we don't want to take a knee, but I think the anthem needs to be addressed and there needs to be a good debate on it. DW, how proud did it make you? It made me proud that someone had actually stood up, because obviously Chock, Anthony Mundine, has come out, but everyone says Chock is just doing it to sell tickets. Chock was right so many years ago, but like I said, it has to be a great debate in our society and in this country. Unseen protest. While some of the Indigenous All-Stars stayed quiet during the national anthem at last week's match in Melbourne, what wasn't shown on the broadcast was the even stronger stance taken by the large group of Indigenous dancers who performed as part of the pre-game entertainment. About 30 performers took a knee and raised their fists during the anthem in reference to two famous anti-racism protests. Separate statement, a protest by dancers during the All-Stars match went unnoticed. Credit. AAPI. In 2016, former NFL star Colin Kaepernick made international headlines by taking a knee during the United States anthem to raise awareness about the treatment of minorities by police in the U.S. The raised fist referenced the Black Power salute made by U.S. athletes Tommy Smith and John Carlos at the 1968 Olympic Games. Knights rally for Duro. For 6 years Scott Duro went for his tests and nothing showed up. Each test showed no signs of the return of a brain tumor, originally stumbled upon by an optometrist when he was suffering from blurred vision and headaches in 2013. Duro had the tumor removed by world-renowned brain surgeon Charlie Teo. The optometrist noticed a shadow behind my eyes and told me to see a specialist, he said. Charlie Teo told me I should thank her every day. At a regular checkup last November, Duro got some bad news. The brain tumor was back. We made the decision straight away to have surgery. And that was a success. The only problem is that has spread to my liver. And we are dealing with that now. I'm seeing a liver specialist. We're dealing with it in the best way we can. Duro was a first-grade player with Newcastle, as well as French Super League Catalans, and is now carving out a coaching career at the Knights with their Jersey Flegg side. He plays a huge role with kids in the area. The Knights and Men of League are organising a fundraiser on April 5 with Trent Robinson, Matthew Johns and Nathan Brown all supporting the Knight.